Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to Starting on the Bench with Tim V. It's a place where normal people can talk about the sports they love. Thank you so much for subscribing to our Instagram page, following us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You know, follow us on Instagram for more information. You're more than welcome to. But today we're going to be talking about NFL draft and the consequences of it, baseball, basketball and their new norm, as well as the UFC 249 and what can we learn from it. And especially this is a crucial time for us to have more and more information of what we can learn from it, right? So if UFC 249, right, now I mentioned in earlier podcasts about a month or two ago, I mentioned that Dana White, who's the president of UFC, is going to be planning on stacking this recent card so that in a way for people to purchase it, which turn out to be something like $60 per pay-per-view, right? And they accumulated around $40 million from all of the fights, but they only paid all of the fights $12 million. So all of the actual fighters got, or athletes, I rather call them athletes. Athletes got $12 million in total, but they accumulated $40 million. And that has been such a huge uproar. But a lot of people don't realize that probably $1 million went into COVID-19 immediate yet expensive testing, right? We noticed that for them to be able to, Dana White promised that in order for them to be able to have these fights and these athletes going at each other, they needed to make sure and provide essentially the fastest COVID-19 test possible. And a lot of people are questioning, like, those things supposed to be into public, right? A lot of people are trying to figure out if they're sick or not, and usually tests come within 7, 8, 9 days or something like that, but all of a sudden they have the money so they can spend on, you know, the immediate tests, and that's not fair. And to all of that, I can say that they're not using any public testing. This is specifically individual and private as clinics, I could call them, right? We can call them clinics, that they intentionally come up with these cures or the way that you can test for COVID-19, and then you're able to have it within minutes. And so I think this is something that Dana White did, and honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing how they can, I guess, speak this knowledge into other sports like NFL and baseball and basketball right now. Because, you know, as you might have heard, basketball is supposed to be coming, and NBA potentially lost a lot of money for not having the playoffs, and I'm a huge playoff fan. I don't usually watch all 82 games of my favorite team, which is Dallas Mavericks. Shout out to my Mavs, right? Mark Cuban, he's my favorite part. That's probably the reason I'm such a huge fan, right? But I think basketball is going to learn a lot from UFC and how they did this card, because it's been stacked. UFC has been planning this for a while now. They were supposed to have about 2 or 3 already established, I think 2 in April and 1 in May, but they decided to juxtapose all 3 into one happening in May, which basically it was mid-May. A lot of people said that it was premature, and I think basketball is one of the biggest organizations. Not NBA, I apologize. Basketball is a sport. NBA is one of the I guess like leading organizations that are afraid to have games right now. So the things that the wellness of players, the people who work in those arenas as well, people who cheer them on, that's something that, you know, if we didn't have audience, then people would play. NBA would be going on, but unfortunately it's not happening. So NBA has lost a lot of money, and a lot of sports did, but unfortunately we're able to notice how NBA is trying to recuperate, right? Become this new norm. And I do this new norm in quotation marks because it's tough to see. It's tough to see that separation between the players and the GMs, because a lot of players are they're really eager to play right now, because again, no playoffs. They cut the season a little bit short. I think it was in March that they finished, right? We didn't have March Madness, so I think beginning of March is when they stopped showing any games or having any games. They started postponing and then canceling, but then there's no playoffs, which meant, and I read the statistics, is that NBA potentially lost $900 million from not having the NBA Finals, right? That's not just from watching. This is not just viewership, people tuning in and stuff like that, but it all includes different sponsors. You know, Papa John's probably popping in and being like, buy a pizza or McDonald's. This is something that's interesting. This is probably like a little bit of a rant, but this is strange for me to watch McDonald's commercials during NBA games. This is something like I'm looking to be inspired. I'm watching this game to be inspired, and all of a sudden I'm getting this McDonald's commercial. But I guess, it is what it is. McDonald's is number one for a reason. But for now, we just hope that, instant Corona check, becomes more available to different people, and NBA really understands that they really take it seriously because they're really pressuring because of the amount of money they lost, right? NBA is suffering from not playing, and GMs, our owners, don't want to threaten people with sickness, but it looks like the players are ready to compete. Obviously, no Olympics happening this summer, and I'm a huge Olympics fan, and no playoffs, right? So I think that it's going to be physically resting for players, and they're going to be able to go for the next season much harder, right? So if a lot of people are really tired, or they got tired during the season and with NBA All-Stars and all of that, now they're able to really hone their craft and really be a better basketball players, and this is something that I'm looking forward to. Obviously, their contract is still going to be, if they have had a contract for 2020, they're still going to get the money. Their contract for 2021, they have to make sure that the stats go up because 2020 didn't happen, and basically it was cut in half, unfortunately. But I'm really excited to see how NBA is going to recuperate and quote unquote create a new norm. Because again, this for NBA, it felt like it was all about the money in the beginning, but now they're really taking care of it. Even some of the players, they intentionally being vocal about making sure that the instant, I don't know, it feels so weird saying instant corona check virus thing that UFC had. I can't remember what they call it, but it had some instant in it, which let's not do it because it reminds me of instant noodles, and that should not be correlation, right? But NBA is really trying to bring at least something back, and summer league's happening, right? So in G League, right? So those things are, I think, the organizers of the summer league and different camps and different players that have foundations and all of that, and have summer camps that they teach the kids. I think they're going to be doing their best to create something for them, because summer is obviously for getting rest, for preparing your body for the whole season. There's a lot of cardio involved. However, you also spend season, I guess, investing back into your community, either where you're from or where you play, right? So we're talking about, New Orleans. You got, what's his name? Lonzo Ball, and then you got Zion Williamson investing back in New Orleans, right? And then you have LeBron James. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, he's a Laker. I can't remember LeBron James not having a Lakers outfit. So that's a uniform. So that's kind of crazy. But it is what it is. So I'm really excited to see how the summer is going to be with basketball. And fortunately, I'm not able to go outside and play ball or do anything. And especially, like, I'm a guy who's really investing into swimming right now. So but basketball is like my second thing that I will go out of my way to play. So I'm really excited about it. Of course, with the summer, we have the NBA draft, which I really want to sit down with somebody in the next couple of podcasts and talk about the next phase of NBA, the next phase, right? Because we want to figure out, from a fan perspective, I want to see how I can create this momentum of understanding that this is a community. This is not just about watching basketball. This is a little bit bigger than just sitting behind a computer and watching games. And this is a new perspective that I have, and it came from watching The Last Dance and different interviews of athletes, basically. So summer is going to be, if and it's a huge if summer league's going to happen, and if there's going to be summer camps for kids that NBA players are able to teach, then it's going to bring something different to the table, and it's going to create promotional material for teams, as well as a good face for those who struggle in 2020. right? With struggling things, right? We're moving on to NBA draft. I know it happened about 3 weeks ago, and it feels like old news, but with the draft comes theories of how NFL will look like in 2020-2021 season. There are a lot of teams that I'm looking forward to seeing how they're gonna react to their draft, react to the free agency that they draft during this time, during the summer, preparations, obviously, and team effort, right? So with Green Bay Packers, something that really shocked me was they drafted a quarterback within the first round. It's crazy. It is crazy. And before that, I was watching Pat McAfee show. He was streaming it for a couple of hours. I didn't watch the whole thing because I don't know. I don't get paid to do that. So why would I spend a couple of hours just watching draft, waiting for these people? Joe Burrow was number 1 overall. I just skimmed through, whenever he was picked. But Green Bay picked quarterback, which is kind of sad because Aaron Rodgers, he's got a contract for the next 4 years with Packers. So I have no idea how things are going to look like, but everybody, including players who play with Green Bay Packers, that all of them say that it is going to be very challenging. It's going to be very challenging to see Aaron Rodgers stay because of this move, right? As well as Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers have Tom Brady, and then they have Gronk right now. He came out of retirement. He's ready. He's healthy. He's going to, I think he already started training. He's already in Florida training with Tom Brady. Tom Brady is actually going to have, a golf tournament with Peyton Manning, which is amazing. I'm super excited. I love golf, so I'm super excited to see them play together or against each other because there's going to be 2 teams, right? Obviously, other news like jerseys and different staff changes that happen, and it is what it is. Those news are not very interesting to cover because, again, it's just memes. You can follow, those are jokes and just, something to laugh about. So if you got nothing else to do, then go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Starting on the Bench. And we post there, we post regular stuff there in our stories. So feel free to follow us and, keep up with sports like that. Obviously, different teams that I'm looking forward to following and seeing how they're going to react during the regular season is the Jets. For some reason, the rumors that I hear and the news that I read, I feel like they're going to really excel this season. By excel, I hope they're going to be 9-7, but we'll see. I feel like Jets should be a part of the playoffs from the way they've been really targeting and Sam Darnold, their quarterback. I'm really bad with names, so the quarterback is really going to be stepping up and showing this excellent leadership. I think that's going to be with the Jets. With Panthers, so many things changed with Panthers. Coaches, the quarterback, Cam Newton, he still isn't signed as of right now, as of recording. And obviously Buccaneers. Everybody's like Buccaneers are going to win the Super Bowl. I hope so, but I don't know how things are going to be. It's going to be very different, and I mean, I said that San Francisco 49ers, they were 2-14, so 4 years ago before they, something like that, 4 or 5 years ago, they were, and it was nightmare. It was definitely, I was like, 49ers, there's nothing that's going to happen to them, right? As well as Jacksonville Jaguars, but now they have Gardner Minshew, and who knows how things are going to be. But Jets, Panthers, and Bucks, obviously with the regular season, summer and, fall's coming up soon. Oh, summer's coming up. It feels like summer. I wish I understood baseball more. I wish I had baseball live right now. I wish I watched baseball more. I still don't understand everything about baseball, but boy, I'm excited. There's so many things, moving pieces at the same time that, like, as a person who likes analytics and statistics, which I feel like that's the same thing, but that's something that I really enjoy about basketball. As well as, right now we have Korean basketball, which is upon us, but I haven't been able to watch it yet because it's a different time. But I miss watching baseball, right? Those different. I think I started watching baseball really, like, I wouldn't say religiously, but like watching a lot of baseball is when Chicago Cubs. I think it was November 2nd. My friend and I, we were watching Chicago Cubs win the World Series. Oh man, it was. We started watching at night, and then finished watching like at 4 or 5 in the morning. It was to die for. It was just so interesting, right? But I think the most important part for me that I would enjoy baseball is those summer days when you and the boys, buy $5-10 tickets and go watch the game. You sit there, enjoy the game, talk, keep score, and get a few overpriced hot dogs and stuff like that. But it's such an interesting sport. It does take a while, but I'm a person who likes golf, so baseball has to mean something, right? So that's basically it. Honestly, this is something that these three topics, right? The UFC, the NFL, and baseball and basketball, those four sports, but they have such a huge potential in developing the summer. I guess like the way they're gonna spend the summer, and obviously the rest of the season for baseball, basketball, hopefully they won't have any playoffs or anything like that, but they're really going to take the summer off to focus on starting the season, having that summer camps and summer league, and really showing off the NBA draft that they're going to have, right? And NFL, oh God, I'm so terrified of how things are with NFL right now, because nothing is certain, a lot of moving pieces, and I'm afraid NFL is not going to take this thing seriously. And they did such a great job with draft because it all felt like it was all normal. Everybody's like, well, NFL is going to be a joke, but no. They intentionally focused on how the draft is going to be, how things are going to, how the coaches are going to select the pick, how the general managers are going to help select the pick, and just watching them and, everybody on Zoom, because there's literally no other platform, so everybody's like Zooming and stuff like that. They have problems with the internet, but it just felt like everything was back to normal whenever NFL draft happened. And watching people getting excited, obviously, Roger Goodell trying to, be this hero that nobody asked and nobody needed, but he did a great job with NFL draft, and I hope that NBA is going to learn from that, and the summer is going to be amazing. I'm excited. There's so much potential, and it's a terrible time to start a podcast about sports. In 2020 is such a time where not a lot of things are happening. But I guess I take that back. Not a lot of things of that everybody can follow happening. Right, that happens. Different nuances happen, and if you're following us on Instagram, you'll know more about it. That's it. It's gonna be my final thing I'm going to say tonight. So thank you so much for tuning in. That's been it. Make sure you subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you follow us on Instagram. All right, make sure you stay safe and be healthy, all right? Take care. Peace.